don't really know when I first started dealing with depression. My mom reckons I was depressed as a child, and I wouldn't disagree with that. I was certainly a loner. I would isolate a lot. I had low energy. I didn't want to get out of bed. I was really moody. So I don't know if I was depressed as a child. I certainly know I dealt with depression in my 20s when I was also dealing with drug addiction. And I don't know if I became addicted to drugs because I was depressed or I was depressed after I was addicted to drugs. But I just know that when I first took Vicodin, those first two, it just felt like a weight off my chest. I could finally breathe. It's how I felt I should always feel, and I tried to chase that feeling for the next 12 years. And when you're depressed and addicted to drugs, it gets confusing because you don't really know where you end and the drugs begin, and where the drugs end and the depression begins. It's like, am I a depressed guy who then takes drugs to feel good, or am I the guy that when I take drugs and I'm feeling good, is that really who I am, and it's just medicating this depression that's otherwise keeping me down? It's a difficult thing to figure out. It's like, and what is this depression? Do I have a chemical imbalance in my brain, and do I have this chemical imbalance because I've screwed up my dopamine system because I'm taking all these opioids, or was my chemical imbalance just always there? Is it a chemical imbalance? Is that what depression is? It was a hard thing to work through. In 2010, I started taking the first antidepressants I would take, which was Wellbutrin, and Wellbutrin did great for me. It really helped me out in 2010 when I got off drugs for about six to 9 months. I was clean, and Wellbutrin really helped me during that time with my depression. Because really, at some point, taking the drugs was just about self-medicating, was just managing this depression. And I mean, there was a time I thought I was going to be on opiates or opioids the rest of my life. There's a time I thought I would be on methadone for forever. I remember thinking this, that I guess I'm just going to be on methadone forever. And then the Wellbutrin came along, and it was good mostly. It was good for a while. Then the Wellbutrin sort of leveled out, and then it kind of stopped working sometimes. And depression was hard. To me, depression manifests a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. For me, depression is waking up in the morning and just having this constant fog around you, and then just laying in bed for a long time after you're awake, and then it's like you have like bungee cords like strapped to you in the bed, and you just like sort of yank yourself off the bed, and then you get up and you're walking like you're wading through molasses as you're just walking, and there's this brain fog, and you go in the shower and you try to wash off the feeling, but you just try to just get through life. I mean, to me, depression was counting the moments until I was allowed to go back to bed, and then once I was in bed, lamenting that at some point I have to get out of bed, even if it was in like 3 days, even if it was Monday, I had to get out of bed on Thursday or Friday. It's like, geez, I gotta get out of bed in 3 days. And I would spend 22 hours a day in bed. Depression to me was not having the brain energy to even watch anything new on TV, just play reruns, because you can't even filter new information. It's just, let me put on reruns of How I Met Your Mother, reruns of The Office, because I just can't really process new information. Eventually, in 2017, I went to inpatient rehabilitation treatment for drug and alcohol addiction. And I noticed a lot of people in there. I mean, the majority of people were diagnosed with either depression or anxiety or were bipolar. And so a lot of people were self-medicating. And when I got out of rehab in May of 2017, I was working towards a better life. And I still struggled with depression. And I was still on antidepressants, and they would work for a while, and it, it wouldn't work as much, and I would get these patterns. My roommate would notice when I was depressed because I would start sleeping on the couch more, I would start going to the casino more, I would start smoking more, I'd start drinking a lot more Red Bull, and I'd be like, crap, I'm depressed. And I would go through this cycle of getting off the antidepressants and getting back on them so then they would work again for a little longer, and it wouldn't work. And even as recent as 6 months ago, I was just living on the couch when I was living in Chicago, just on the couch, like that was my island, and just indulging in Jersey Shore reruns nonstop. But I moved to Phoenix about 4 months ago when all this COVID stuff went down, and I was just in this house by myself, not knowing anybody in Phoenix, and I had a choice to make. I could either sit on my couch and sit in bed and play slot machines on my phone and watch Catfish reruns, or I could try to better myself. And I've been trying to better myself ever since my, getting out of rehab and going into recovery and trying to recover the person that I guess I am. I guess I'm supposed to be. I don't know. So I started to do some work, and I started to meditate a lot more. I started to do Wim Hof breathing. And as I started to do Wim Hof breathing, I noticed the effect it was having, even the acute effect of oxygenating your blood and breathing fully in and letting go and fully in, let go. And I would notice the tingles in my body, and just, it made me realize I don't know anything about my body. I don't know anything about how the body-mind-soul complex works. And as I started to discover more about it and started to learn about it more, all of a sudden I realized, I looked at the antidepressants I had been on for more or less 10 years on and off, and they just stopped making sense to me. I go, no, there's a better way. And I changed my story. I always wondered this. I always wondered what depression was. How much of the depression was just a story I was telling myself. How strong are our beliefs? If I say, I am depressed, does that just keep me depressed? Does that just reinforce a story that I'm incapable of not being depressed? So I decided to change my story. I changed it from I am depressed, which identifies as depression, I am depressed, to sometimes I experience low energy. And it's the same set of facts, it really is. But I just changed it. Change the story from I am depressed to sometimes I experience low energy. And the solution to I am depressed is taking antidepressants. But when I say sometimes I experience low energy, well, there's a whole new solution for that, because we're in a universe that's made of energy. I'm made of energy. I have an energy complex that's inside of me. I'm attached to infinite energy. That's what I believe, at least. And so then it just became about tapping into the energy that was already here, accessing the energy that was available to me, and figuring out how to access that. So that's what I did. I started doing different breath work, breath of fire. I started meditating more. I meditated on my chakras. I started doing qigong, which gets the energy, the qi, the energy flowing inside of you. Sometimes they say if you're depressed, you go work out. It's like, yeah, good luck, because when you're depressed, it's just you're too depressed to do anything about being depressed. But I started getting things like breath of fire, where I would just breathe in bed over. Just while laying there for 3 minutes. Or I would beat my chest. It's a little qigong thing to start to get the energy moving. And you feel it. You feel the tingles when you start to do that. And it wasn't easy at first. It took me about a month. But after about a month, without any antidepressants and just with this practice, all of a sudden, my energy was getting more and more. And I was tapping into the energy that was already here. And, well, I sit here today, antidepressant-free, depression-free, feeling better than I ever have in my life, not by a little bit, but by a long shot. So I guess the point in me saying all this is, no matter where you are in life, antidepressants, they held their space for me and did what they could for me until I couldn't do it for myself. And eventually I did. So I guess no matter where you are in life, just remember, there is something better. That there is a better way, there is more, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And that light is inside of you.